And what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Inland Sports Show. We are live and amplified here on Wednesday night. Hope everyone is starting to enjoy their summer. Luckily, it has not got real hot yet here in the Inland Empire. It's actually been pretty mild, and we'll take that as long as we can. I know a lot of high school football teams are doing the 7-on-7 thing right now. Many are in their dead period, because after dead period, dude, it's all gas, no brakes, right into week 0, which I believe is like August 22nd, I want to say. So the high school football season is right around the corner. So I have been putting together a master schedule. I do this every single year. I take all the teams in the Inland Sports Show coverage area, and I build a schedule week by week with all the games. And as I do that, it's kind of a good way to kind of get familiar with a lot of these big games coming up, especially in non-league play. And San Jacinto, the Jack, has an incredible, tough non-league schedule. We're going to talk with Tigers head coach Aric Galliano in just a moment about that schedule, which includes a rivalry game against Beaumont in week 0. They've got King, Rancho Verde, Aquinas, and Cajon, and Yorba Linda. It is tough. So we'll talk some Tiger football in just a moment. We also have Miranda De Nava, the former Riverside Poly softball star, played last year as a freshman with the Cal Golden Bears, but has transferred to California Baptist University. Lance up Miranda. We'll talk some softball with her as well. And NBA draft news. It is going down tonight. And we're going to let you know, do we have a local guy or two being selected in the NBA draft? So that's coming up as well. But as we always do, it's a lot of high school football. We're very excited to have Aric Galliano back on the show to talk about that awesome non-league schedule. And this team, listen, they've got a lot of speed. They've got some returning players. This could be a very special squad for San Jacinto. Remember, 2022, Division VI CIF Southern Section champions, went to a state championship game, and they've got some dudes coming back. They were Division II last year for playoffs, so they've gradually taken steps up and up the last couple of years. Here is Coach Galliano from the Jack on Inland Sports.
Inland Sports.
On the Inland Sports Shows begin to ramp up for the high school football season is the head coach of your San Jacinto Tigers, Aric Galliano. And Coach, man, listen, you always have great schedules, but specifically this year, I'm starting to build this master schedule for all the teams in the Inland Sports Show coverage area week by week. Man, I got to your schedule, and I'm like, holy smokes. Like, what a great schedule. Beaumont, yes. King, Cajon, Aquinas, Rancho Verde, and Yorba Linda. 6 non-league games, man. How excited are you just about to find, about the competition and just the challenges that you guys will see in non-league play to kind of hopefully get you ready for a deep playoff run?
Absolutely. Like, that's since I've been here, I've been trying to up it every year. And the kids with how we performed last year, making it Division II, I had to step it up a little bit more to try to get us prepared for that type of competition. The kids are excited. They've been working their butts off all off season. So we're super excited to get rolling.
How much does that factor into when you build a schedule in terms of thinking of what division you are going to be for the playoffs? Or does that really, I don't know if it maybe isn't a factor even at this point. And it's the middle of June and we're talking about this.
No, I was thinking about it back in January when we're trying to find opponents, trying to find some local teams if we can that are going to prepare us. Anywhere, we fluctuate anywhere from 2 to 4 in divisions, and so seeing how previous teams have done, doing research on them, and trying to find if it's a good matchup for both games because I got to play a tough non-league in order to prepare us for the playoffs. And so, that's how I've been doing it for the last couple of years.
All right, so you guys won a CIF championship in 2022. You've had some really good teams, some really good players. Is it more difficult or easier to find your non-league opponents now?
I think it's a lot tougher. Trying to play a lot of local schools, and a lot of them say no. There's a handful of them that are out there. I'm trying to schedule Centennial. I don't think we're at that level yet. The Merida Valleys, those types of teams. But playing the mid tier, I think I'm a mid tier player, or not mid tier player, but a mid tier program where we can play the middle of that Big West upper. Playing anybody in that Big West lower than anybody in Riverside. And so, that's how we're how I've been doing it for the last couple of years.
All right, so you guys won a CIF championship in 2022. You've had some really good teams, some really good players. Is it more difficult or easier to find your non-league opponents now?
I've been doing it for the last couple of years. that can give us, good competition to try to prepare us.
Well, I know Matt Logan really struggles finding teams, so if you ever want Centennial, they'd probably get you on the schedule. But with that said, when we do our, Boost Top 25, when we rank the top 25 teams in our area, I would say, Aquinas, Cajon, Rancho Verde, definitely Beaumont and King. They're probably all inside the top 12, I would say. So at least, Yorba Linda's obviously really good too, but at least when you talk about those other local teams, it's not like you went out and found some school that we've never heard of. I mean, you're playing some really, really good teams. So is that easy to get your team excited and fired up knowing that you're going to have such an awesome schedule coming up?
Yeah, and it's, in order to be one of the top teams in Riverside County, we got to play those teams. And so, we strive, we push hard in the non-league to try to get us ready for that playoff, because that's what it's ultimately about, is that end of the season, staying healthy, playing competitive games, and getting us the best look possible in order for us to try to make that run.
All right, Coach Galliano, you guys always have weapons on offense. I'm assuming Ransom and Davis are going to be back for you guys. But who's quarterbacking the Tigers this season?
We have a transfer in from Miranda Mesa that came in, Josue Estrada. He played varsity with them last year in some JV. Has done a real good job this offseason, commanding the huddle. Those are real good, a real catchable ball. Good leader. So all the aspects that we look at as our quarterback. Waiting to see. We've always had some type of runner there, so we'll see what type of footwork he has and how fast he is. But we'll develop what we have to his strengths offensively, and he has the speed around him, which he's told us is a lot different from where he was at with Mesa with the speed that we have. So it's just him getting used to the timing aspect in the passing game, and the running game is what it is.
Well, Coach, obviously you don't hang banners for 7-on-7 tournaments or whatever, but is this an important time of the year? Doing passing leagues against other schools or tournaments just for the sake of having a new quarterback and making sure that these guys are on the same page. Yeah,
we did a bunch in the spring. And then we ended, 2 weeks ago at San Diego State. So I have one more, mid-July. It's because it's a pretty young group. I only got like 15 seniors, a lot of young kids. It's about building us our program and getting kids to understand what we do and how we do things. That's what we're trying to focus on this summer, getting our kids ready to go.
Refresh my memory. I can't believe I'm forgetting this, but in 2022, you guys were Division 6 champions. Was that correct?
Yes, sir. Yep, Division 6, 3A regional, and then lost in the finals or the state championship to Grant by 2.
The Grant Pacers from Sacramento. Yeah. So, Coach, going Division 2 last season, when you took over the program, did you want to gradually get there? Like, hey, nothing wrong with the Division 6 championship. It'd be pretty nice though to win a Division 2 or maybe even compete in Division 1 one day. I mean, what was your kind of the goals for the program?
And my goal ultimately when taking over is try to leave it better than when I got it. Coach Powell did a great job, and I'm not saying he didn't do a bad job. But anytime a coach takes over a new program, their goal is to try to improve the program. I think we've done that with academics, in the classroom, getting kids out on scholarship. Winning the CIF championship, and every year we've moved up divisions. It's just a testament to the kids, their buy-in to our program, and the off-season program. It's working out for everybody, both ends. My program getting those kids out on scholarship. We're getting kids that want to come here and play. I've been playing real competitive football.
All right, well, Coach, obviously you're checking in to the Inland Sports Show from a practice or a workout or something you got going on out there at the Jack. So have you already had your dead period, and what does the next couple of weeks look like as you guys ramp up for that first game?
Yeah, we just got off a dead period. Today was our first day. Great numbers is probably the highest. My wife was driving by, and she goes, that's the highest I've seen at the first day of summer football. We're over 100 kids, over 40 freshmen, which was awesome. We had a bunch of kids that didn't get cleared that were on the sidelines watching practice. So we're super excited to get all this thing up and running.
So from here on out, I mean, it goes right into that first game against Beaumont, right?
It goes right into that first game against Beaumont. We do things a little bit differently here. I want kids to be kids, and so we've kind of scheduled it 3 days a week. We go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. for 4.5 hours. Making sure those kids get a 4-day break, rest period. Time for them to be kids. We started doing that about 2-3 years ago, and my numbers have gone up every year. The buy-in from the kids, kids coming, being on time, staying late, all those things. Not burning them out with so much football. But while we're here, those 4 hours, we're speed training, we're weight training, we're meetings, then we get out on the practice field. And we try to hold practice anywhere from an hour 30 to an hour 45. Try to keep their attention spans. And they've done a great job the last 3 to 4 years of buying into that. And, it's the same thing with this young group.
I'm sure the parents appreciate that too, having the kids,
absolutely,
home and available.
And all the wives, yeah. Coaches' wives, so, amount of time that we put in. They know Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is a busy time for us, but they know we're going to be around, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which has been good for my coaches as well.
So do you try to squeeze out a little bit more summer fun before the football season starts with your own family, or maybe even during that dead period, vacation time, or what do you do?
Absolutely. I'm actually coaching my 10-year-olds. I got 10-year-old triplets, and so I've been coaching their youth basketball team. We're actually leaving Thursday night to go play a basketball tournament in Vegas. On Fridays when we don't have practice, I take the kids out on the boat. They go wakeboarding, wake surfing, just spending a lot of time with them. The off season is my time with them, so that's why I kind of jumped in and coached their youth sports. And so being around them and having fun, they're out at my practices. My girls hang out with our trainers. My son usually jumps in with practice. It's a family affair. My wife works here, so it's awesome.
Man, so when you're not coaching, you're coaching. It's more coaching.
I can't get enough of it. Just being around them, they all love sports, and so they've grown around it since they were babies. My wife had them out here. I remember in 2015 when I took over, she just had our triplets. They're on the sidelines. With parents holding them, and so they've been around my program for the last 10 years, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
All right, Coach, last question, because I know you're busy. You got stuff going on. You open the season week 0 against Beaumont. I would say that's a rivalry. Is that a rivalry game now?
Absolutely, yeah. That's something that we've picked up since they left the Mountain Pass to go to the CBL. We've talked about it. We've trying to create that rivalry. The team down in San Jacinto East doesn't want to play anymore. So I kind of try to find a new rivalry, and so we wanted to set it up, first game of the season. And, it's been a good matchup every year. We haven't got them the past couple, because Jeff does a great job up there, but it's always been competitive. That's what I look for, is those competitive games. Win or losses, we learn a lot from those losses as well, not just winning football games. And so, we've learned a lot from those games because he just does a great job offensively. His defensive coordinator does a great job, preparing for us. It's just great competition.
Yeah, man, some of the best games that we've had in the area, regular season and playoffs, when you guys go head-to-head. So that's August 21st, week 0, San Jacinto and Beaumont. That is Tigers head coach Aric Galliano joining us here on the Inland Sports Show. Coach, always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon, maybe on a sideline.
Absolutely, Pep. You're always welcome to San Jacinto.
Love the Jack. That's Aric Galliano here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. Good stuff from the one and only Aric Galliano right here on the Inland Sports Show. Thank you so much, Coach. Always enjoy our conversations. Yeah, and San Jacinto, man, they've got a great schedule. We're going to find out real fast how good this San Jacinto team is, but they should be pretty good. A lot of returning players, especially at the skill positions. A lot of speed on this Tigers team, so can't wait for high school football coming up. All right, we will talk more high school football the next couple of weeks as we kind of ramp up towards week 0, which is about 2 months away, almost exactly to this day. What is it today? June 25th. Week 0 is August 22nd. In fact, let me just double check. I think it's August 22nd. I keep saying the 22nd. So Friday the 22nd would be week 0. There's actually a bunch of Thursday games on the 21st as well. But we'll have a lot more high school football in the next 2 months as we get ready for the upcoming season. But when we come back here on this edition of the Inland Sports Show, we'll talk some CBU softball. They just landed a big-time player. Miranda De Nava out of Riverside Poly, just played her freshman year with the Cal Golden Bears, has transferred to CBU, and she is going to be a huge addition in the circle for the Lancers. We'll talk to Miranda De Nava when we come back here on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show, right after this. The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Bass Athletics in Corona. Driven by passion and hard work, Bass Athletics helps student athletes push their limits, compete with heart, and build the discipline to succeed in sports, school, and life. For more information on the Bass Private School, visit bassathletics.com. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands with Dr. Marcus Paulson. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist that you can trust. And Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun. And we are back here on the Inland Sports Show, live and amplified on Wednesday night. We appreciate you tuning in each and every week. If you're watching the video right now, and I know you are, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. We love bringing you these positive stories here in the Inland Empire. Summer usually is a little bit slow around here, but we still find plenty of interviews and good content to share with you guys as we get a little bit closer to August and those fall sports, the fall sports season. All right, big time news for CBU softball. They got a whole new coaching staff, and they're bringing in some great players, including Miranda De Nava out of Riverside Poly High School. She signed with Cal, the Golden Bears, UC Berkeley, out of high school, played her freshman year with them, and she is now transferring to CBU. So that is a huge addition for the Lancers in the circle. We had a chance to talk to Miranda about her decision to come back home, her hometown of Riverside, and play at Funk Stadium for CBU. Here is Miranda De Nava on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I am stoked. I think being back home is a great opportunity. I'm excited for it. Being back with family, and just knowing that I'm playing at a high program is really exciting, something I'm looking forward to.
So Miranda, let's talk about just a little bit about Riverside Poly real quick, because, people might be like, oh, I remember her. I saw the highlights. I saw the interviews. Riverside Poly obviously has a great program, and they've produced a lot of great softball players. Tell me something about Riverside Poly that you learned there, or something you did there that you're like, you know what? It's the same at the college level. Like, it's still the same game of softball. Obviously, the players and the competition is going to be a little bit better, but something that you learned at Poly, you're like, you know what? It's still applicable at Division I softball.
Oh, wow. I think the thing that I took most from Poly was like the culture that we built. My senior year was just like icing on the cake for high school. I think I created like friendships and bonds that I really like took on out of high school. And I think playing with the team that wanted to play behind me being a pitcher, I think was the best thing about that. I created those bonds that I still have today. And that's really what took me, like what I'm from the high school environment, bringing it on to college.
All right, so Miranda, man, it's very exciting right now at CBU. The campus is just exploding. All the sports programs are doing really well. I've seen the baseball and softball facilities over there. They're awesome. Funk Stadium's great. What was it about CBU that you're like, you know what? I'd love to come back home and play for the Lancers?
Oh my gosh. I mean, like you just said, the campus, the facilities, everything about it. I think the most exciting thing for me is to play in a hometown where I have a lot of family and friends. Being able to play in front of them is obviously something I love to do. CBU is like a school where you can practice your faith almost every single day. And as someone who like grew up going to private school, I think that me being able to pick a school that will allow me to do that every single day was really it kind of sold me. Mm-hmm. And the new head coach for CBU actually was a Cal assistant coach, and I loved him. I think being able to play under him now at CBU is such a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, that's a great segue. So, let's say from the time you were at Riverside Poly to right now, you were with the Cal Golden Bears. So how did you grow as a pitcher and as a player in that 1 year? I mean, just facing great competition and great batters. Like, how do you feel like you've gotten better since the last time we saw you, let's say, in a circle at Riverside Poly?
I think the challenges that I faced really like motivated me. They definitely, like I said, they challenged me. I think stepping onto a field that is brand new at Cal kind of was like a shocker for me. I was shocked a little bit to play at like that collegiate level. But at the end of the day, it's softball. It's the game that I've grown up playing, and it really was just being able to mentally like train myself into it's just a game. And like I said, I did it at Poly. I did it growing up. I did it my whole life, and I knew how to play the game. So I think going into college, it was really just I need to learn how to like set it aside, because yes, it is a job to a certain extent, but it's also what I love to do, and playing it at a collegiate level is honestly a lot more fun.
Okay, so at CBU, they're going to be moving to the Big West, not this upcoming season, but the year after that. So when you look at your college career, what are some goals you have in mind? Conference championships? You want to get to the College World Series? Like what are some of those big goals that you might have for yourself and the team?
That's actually one of the biggest goals. I think getting to the World Series is the top goal, but I think going into CBU as a new player, having new coaching staff, everything, I think what I'm looking for is to just kind of build a team culture that's like fun to be around, and to kind of just like create a culture where like the team, we love each other and we'll like learn how to like play behind each other. And when we can do that and it's like nice and we all gel well, I think playing the game is fun, and we make it fun to watch for spectators. So I think that'll be exciting, and yeah.
When I looked at their schedule last year, I mean, I think UCLA came out to CBU. Like, they play some really good competition outside of the WAC. So are you excited about, the schedule? And I don't know if they've already released it, but I mean, going from Cal to CBU, I don't know if there's much of a drop off. I know, there's some good, good teams that you're still going to face. Yeah,
I think the competition will definitely still be elite.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. I think going from an ACC conference to a WAC conference is definitely going to be different, but I look forward to it because I know that the culture will be different, and I'll actually enjoy being with a team who will want to play behind me.
Did you travel with Cal on all their road trips?
Yes, I did.
So, I listen, the WAC is spread out, and I know you guys will be in the Big West after a season, but the WAC is really spread out right now, but not like the ACC. I mean, for Cal and Stanford, to be basically on the East Coast, every single road trip. I don't know if you enjoy traveling, but does the idea of once you guys finally get to the Big West to play UC Riverside, Cal State Fullerton, Irvine, some of those schools, is that kind of exciting?
That's really exciting. I think traveling with Cal was fun. It was the experience that I wanted to experience. I mean, going from high school to college, that was something I wanted to do. I was so honestly, just so blessed to be able to travel as much as we did, because we really were on the East Coast the entire season. So that was definitely challenging. Going from West Coast to East Coast time schedule and having to stay on track with school, everything. But I think coming back home and being able to play all in SoCal, hopefully, will be really fun and something I still look forward to.
Yeah, I'm sure your friends and family, get a chance to see you a lot more, especially the CBE home games. But going to UCR or Fullerton, that's not obviously not that bad of a drive with those Big West teams. All right, and finally, Miranda, I've seen CBE, they rolled out the new head coach and the coaching staff and all these player signings. So, as we do this interview during the summer, are you guys already starting to work out? What does that window look like as you get ready for the upcoming season next spring?
Yes, we are starting to get in some workouts. Obviously recruiting is still happening, so our roster's not set yet, but as more people start joining, we'll start meeting each other and workouts will start getting set. So yeah.
All right, and one quick follow-up question too, because CBU usually gets several great softball players from the Inland Empire, and we know the IE is like a softball hotbed. There's so many good players and programs and coaches. Do you feel like maybe if players like yourself, kind of go to CBU, maybe you guys can start like a pipeline, right, of local stars, staying closer to home, whether it's from the Big 8 League or the Southwestern League or of course the Ivy League. Like some of these schools, maybe some of the top players will stay closer to home.
I hope so. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, Miranda, listen, congratulations and Lance up. We're very excited to see you at CBU this upcoming season.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You got it. That's Miranda De Nava, formerly of Riverside Poly, now at California Baptist University, here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. All right, good job, Miranda. Man, what a get for CBU softball. Very exciting to get some local talent out there at Funk Stadium. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, again live and amplified on Wednesday night. Oh, man, I just saw his name called. We did have a local guy out of Centennial High School for the second year in a row being selected in the first round of the NBA draft. So we'll talk hoops when we come back. We also got some college football news to share. We'll be back here on the Inland Sports Show right after this. The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and letterman's jackets. Bass Athletics in Corona. Driven by passion and hard work, Bass Athletics helps student-athletes push their limits, compete with heart, and build the discipline to succeed in sports, school, and life. For more information on the Bass Private School, visit bassathletics.com. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands with Dr. Marcus Paulson. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist that you can trust. And Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken.
Pep, what's going on?
Dude, I am right with you, man. I am not a fan of Mondays, but I am a fan of Game 7s, whether it's the World Series, the NBA Finals. We had Game 7 on Sunday night, which makes Monday morning a little bit more bearable. Came down to one final game to crown an NBA champion. Oklahoma City and the Indiana Pacers playing for the whole thing. One game to decide a champion, and it was the Thunder winning on their home floor in OKC by a final score of 103-91. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the NBA Finals MVP, the former LA Clipper, and I know that's probably hard to hear for Clipper fans out there, as OKC wins their first NBA championship in the Oklahoma City era, Patrick, and I know that doesn't exactly sit well with you.
Yeah, it does feel weird when they say the first championship was in 1979, because it feels like the Sonics are such a different team. Of course they are. There's a great, thing on Instagram where they show uniforms that don't look right, and they show like Patrick Ewing in a Sonics jersey. They show Scottie Pippen. We're not used to that, but it does happen towards the end of the career. And here goes Durant. He's worn all the colors in the rainbow now, kind of like the Shaq,
Yeah, Shaq made the rounds. He was on the Celtics.
Yeah.
Gosh, there were some weird teams. Phoenix, yeah. So
the Shactus.
Yeah, the Shactus, the big Shactus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Kevin Durant is probably chasing a championship, and if you listen to the reports, there was a short list of teams he wanted to go to. The Rockets were one of them. I think the Miami Heat were on that list. So there was a very short list of teams he wanted to go to. So, yeah, he's not completely surprised. He wants to win a championship. He saw Houston as this young, up-and-coming team that maybe he could be the final piece to get them to that championship. So, yeah, that was the other big news coming out in Game 7. And it's funny we bring up Kevin Durant because, Patrick, Kevin Durant started his career as a Seattle Sonic. I remember covering an NBA preseason game, and there he was in a Seattle Sonics uniform. So that's where it all started for him. And then, of course, they became OKC. He spent some time there. They had a really great team, got to the finals, but couldn't get the job done. Inland Sports. Hanging out with my boy Patrick in the morning on KCAL 96.7 FM every Monday and Thursday morning talking sports. He's a big Seattle sports fan. It was kind of bittersweet for him to see the Oklahoma City Thunder win the NBA title because remember, before they were the Thunder, they were the Seattle Supersonics, and that franchise was ripped away from Seattle, put in Oklahoma City. So he's a big-time old-school Sonics fan. So it was hard to kind of see them win Oklahoma City win the title. But Patrick, good guy on KCAL, big sports fan, loves the Mariners. He's a big fan of the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, the all-star catcher for the Seattle Mariners, having an incredible season. Maybe offensively, maybe the best season ever, or one of the best season ever, at least in the first half for a Major League Baseball catcher. The big dumper, Cal Raleigh, because he's got a big butt. He's a catcher, and he's got a big butt, so they call him the Big Dumper, and he's embraced that nickname. So if you want to hear stuff like that, the Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh and the Mariners, check us out, KCAL 96.7 FM every Monday and Thursday morning. All right, some local football news. We told you last week that Kevin Kraft is the new head football coach for Riverside City College. And we also hinted, we didn't say for sure, but we hinted at the fact that, if Kevin Kraft's the head coach of the Tigers, his dad, Tom Kraft, will probably be on staff in some capacity. Well, it's official. They released this image on social media. There's Kevin Kraft, the head coach and the offensive coordinator for the RCC Tigers. And there is Tom Kraft, the associate head coach, and he'll coach up the QBs. So Tom Kraft still with the program, but handing over the reins to Kevin Kraft as the head coach. I've already reached out to RCC. We are going to interview Coach Kraft. Probably have that as early as next week. So we will check in with Coach Kevin Kraft, the new head football coach for the RCC Tigers football team. All right, speaking of football, very excited about this weekend because Alexander Madison of the Miami Dolphins and Cardinal City, USA, San Bernardino High School is back with his I Am Gifted Summer Life Skills Camp. And Alex is so cool, man. He does this camp everywhere. He's doing it in Florida. He's doing it back in Idaho, where he went to school at Boise State University. He was doing it in Minnesota when he played for the Vikings. I think he even had one in Vegas when he's doing the Raiders, man. Wherever he's at, he is plugged into the community. And, of course, he does it here in the IE where he's from. So it's this Friday, Saturday, Sunday at UC Riverside. I will be out there. We're going to hear from Alex. Also, something else special planned involving his I Am Gifted Athletes of the Month. So I will share that with you next week. But very cool to have Alex back in town for his 3-day camp out there at UCR. We will have more coverage of that next week here on the Inland Sports Show, plus more immediately on our Inland Sports Show social media platforms, Instagram, X, a little bit on Facebook, and of course right here on YouTube. All right, so we are tracking the NBA draft, and for the second year in a row, Centennial High School, the 10, Centen, has a basketball player go in the first round of the NBA draft. Last year, it was Jared McCain out of Duke going to the Philadelphia 76ers. And just moments ago, it is Carter Bryant going in the first round, number 14 overall, to the San Antonio Spurs. So congratulations to Carter Bryant. He played his senior season for the Huskies and 1 year at the University of Arizona and now off to the NBA. And I would assume a good spot in San Antonio where they like to play defense. They got some good young players like Victor Wembanyama, and now they added Carter Bryant. They got De'Aaron Fox, my guy from the Sacramento Kings. So that's kind of a good young nucleus, although the Western Conference is just so tough. But Carter Bryant's a good pickup because he's a great player, period. But he's really good on defense. On the defensive end, he can guard guards, forward. He might even go down in the post as well. So, again, Carter Bryant. And, I just saw the Spurs tweeted out. It says, welcome to the Alamo City, Carter Bryant. So, congratulations to the former Centennial High School Husky. Now, we had him right here on the Inland Sports Show last year, right after he was named a McDonald's All-American. And if you're not familiar with the McDonald's All-American game, it's a showcase. It's an all-star game featuring the top high school basketball players in the country. And it's really a preview of a bunch of guys who will likely make it to the NBA. Many of them did. And Carter Bryant, when we had him on the Inland Sports Show last year, we talked about his selection to the McDonald's All-American game and what it meant to him. And I got a feeling how he answers this about the McDonald's All-American game is probably very similar how he's going to answer questions about being drafted by the San Antonio Spurs at number 14 overall tonight. Here is Carter Bryant out of Centennial High School here on the Inland Sports Show. I think this was January of 2024.
It was surreal, and it's kind of funny because it didn't really hit me at first because it's been something I've dreamed about since I've been 12, 13 years old. So now kind of having it happen for the first, I'm going to say like the first hour and a half, it didn't feel real. I was like, okay. And then once it kind of started flowing across the internet and they posted it on the McDonald's website and all that stuff, like it kind of came to me that I was like I worked hard enough to be selected for this.
You know, Carter, when you look at the list of guys who were McDonald's All-Americans and the awesome things they went on to do at the college and NBA level, what do you think about that, just having your name alongside all these other greats that have played in this game?
I mean, I feel like it means I'm on the right path. It means I'm doing the right things in the gym. I'm doing the right things as an individual, as a teammate, and allowing myself to be presented in a way where people want me to represent their brand.
You know, when you're all right, again, congratulations to Carter Bryant going in the first round of the NBA draft tonight, number 14 overall to the San Antonio Spurs. Also, you know what? Something pretty cool I just saw about Carter is he is proficient in American Sign Language, ASL. Apparently his grandparents are deaf, and he learned ASL to communicate with them. So there was something on social media about him signing a social media post. So that was pretty cool. Carter Bryant, former Centennial Husky, now in the NBA. Now, another local guy we're hoping gets his name called. If he doesn't go in the first or second round tomorrow night of the NBA draft, maybe as an undrafted free agent, that would be Lamont Butler out of Riverside Poly High School. Of course, he's a March Madness legend, hit that big-time shot for San Diego State University in the Final Four against Florida Atlantic, got the Aztecs to the championship game where they lost to UConn. He then transferred to the Kentucky Wildcats, had a great senior season, got a little banged up with some injuries, but he's good to go now. He's trying to get a shot at the NBA. I think he will. This was from this interview from the Inland Sports Show. I think this was like 2019. I think it was like right before COVID hit, if I remember correctly. But we had Lamont Butler on the show and the Bears head coach at the time, Yancey Dodson. And Yancey just glowing about what makes Lamont Butler such a special and unique player. So hear what head coach Yancey Dodson from Riverside Poly had to say about Lamont Butler. This was about 5 years ago before he became a college basketball legend, now trying to make it to the NBA.
Just a blessing to coach Lamont Butler, you know, the player and the person. A lot of times another team's star player, you know, could be selfish in terms of wanting to get his as it relates to points or whatever it might be. But, you know, sitting here next to the guy who's overly unselfish and truly gets more pleasure out of making a great pass than scoring a basket, or, you know, gets more joy out of watching a teammate be or celebrate success than his own. And this is a guy who's full of individual accolades and doing what he's done statistically, and, you know, full ride to San Diego State and all those kinds of things. Yeah. And he's just been, you know, a blessing to coach. And the question that you asked before about putting his stamp, on the program. He has certainly done that, and the legacy that he's left for, the guys who are coming behind him, is a great one. They've got big shoes to fill, but.
All right, good luck to Lamont Butler's also such a great guy. In fact, I remember that interview. I was joking with him. I'm like, man, I feel like you're 30 years old because remember, he was starting on the Riverside Poly basketball team as a freshman. So he started all 4 years, and he was one of the best players in the area. So he did the show multiple times, and then he went to San Diego State and did his thing there. So it was very cool to see him do so well, and hopefully he gets a shot at the NBA as well. So we'll be keeping tabs on Lamont Butler. Big thanks to our guests tonight, including Miranda De Nava, CBU softball pitcher, and Aric Galliano, head football coach for the Jack, the San Jacinto Tigers. And again, we'll be doing a lot more high school football as we lead up to August 22nd, which would be the first Friday night of the season, week 0. All right, guys, God bless you. Stay safe out there. My name is Pep Fernandez. Thank you for watching. Give the video a like, subscribe, and if you're a business, hit us up. We'd love to promote you here on the show. I'm Pep Fernandez, and we'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. Good night.